In the vast wilderness of Alaska, there are places so remote you can only get there by sea. This hot spring is so lovely. Oh my god. This is one of those places. Absolute bliss. The view of the bay, unreal. A natural hot spring with views overlooking an actual volcano. This week, we're leaving the town of Sitka behind in a wall of fog, weaving through a very busy fishing fleet. It is so hectic out here. There are so many fishing boats and runabout skiffs that are just darting every which way. Thankful for a little guidance from the locals. So incredible. Such intelligent animals. We're en route to one of Alaska's most unique off-grid experiences. We're out of the fog and we're sailing! Securite, securite, securite.
It is very shallow. It only has about a fathom of water in it.
I had to put up my hand and be like, stop! This is life cruising along Alaska's wild coast. Settle in and welcome aboard. You're joining us in Alaska's oldest city, home to the busiest small craft harbor in the state. It's August, salmon season is in full swing, and the harbor's alive with a flurry of fishing boats coming and going. This town of 8,000 people is only accessible by air or sea. To get here, we sailed the rugged edge of the Gulf into the open swells of the North Pacific, along a coastline as wild and raw as it gets.
The wind is definitely building out here, surfing down the waves at 7.5, 8 knots sometimes.
On a day like today, there is absolutely no cooking happening down our galley. After a few rolly days at sea, we were more than ready for some time on solid ground, and have spent the last 48 hours doing just that, wandering Sitka's historic streets and picturesque shoreline, soaking in its quirky charm and rich history. Today, we're shoving off the dock, setting sail for a unique off-grid experience only accessible by boat. We are just pulling out of Sitka, Alaska. It is a glorious sunny day. This is a really cool town. Unfortunately, we didn't get to film too much while we were here. We are really running out of time before James' visa expires, so we really need to book it down the west coast of Southeast Alaska and get back to Canada. And we've got a lot of things we want to do on the way, including hit up the Hot Springs that is just 15 nautical miles south of here, which is where we are on our way to today. They come highly recommended. Not exactly off the beaten track, being pretty close to Sitka, but one of those stops that you just can't miss. So that's the plan for today. So we're just leaving Sitka Harbor. Hopefully we can do some sailing. So yeah, come along with us. It's gonna be an awesome couple of days. We've got some incredible anchorages that we wanna hit up here on Baranof Island before we head down the coast to Prince of Wales Island and back into northern Canada.
We're just exiting the marina and we're getting underway now that the fog's lifted.
The surrounding area of Sitka is stunning, the land rising sharply out of the sea. Thick forested hillsides, rocky inlets, and volcanic mountains. Originally inhabited by the Tlingit people for thousands of years, the area was known as Sitka Kwan, a coastal hub of trade, culture, and community long before outsiders arrived. In the late 1700s, Russian explorers, led by Alexander Baranov, established a trading post nearby, clashing with the Tlingit. After a major conflict, the Russians seized control and renamed the settlement New Archangel, making it the capital of Russian America. Sitka thrived under Russian rule as a fur trading center and colonial capital. But by 1867, Russia sold Alaska to the United States for a humble $7.2 million, and the formal transfer took place right here in Sitka, making it the original capital of American Alaska before the seat moved to Juneau. Today, Sitka reflects a unique blend of Tlingit, Russian, and American influences, with a bustling fishing culture that still thrives today.
I don't think we're gonna sail today. I think we might just motor cruise out of here. Sitka Sound is absolutely littered with like rocks and pillars everywhere. And there's so much boat traffic between the seine boats that are seining with the nets in the water catching fish to all the fast boats that are ripping around. Not to mention that the very little light wind that we have is coming out of exactly the direction that we need to go. So I think we might take a day off the sailing, use the old Iron Horse and get over here. We only got about 10 miles to go to get over to Goddard anyway. So it should be a lovely little motor cruise today. But yeah, Sitka Sound, absolutely beautiful. I really, really like it here. If I was going to live anywhere in Alaska, it might just be Sitka. It's just stunningly beautiful. The mountainscape, the volcanoes. It's just gorgeous. I love it.
Sitka Sound is bustling during peak salmon season. It is so hectic out here. There are so many fishing boats and runabout skiffs that are just darting every which way. A flurry of boats, trollers working lines, crews hauling in their catch, everyone edging to make the most of the run, their season's livelihood on the line. Weaving through the action, giving space where we could, even dodging whales. Definitely hectic times, and now we are heading into a fog bank, so yeah, let's hope we make it out of this thing alive. There's a lot of salmon being hauled in here, and we sort of felt like we were missing out, so we put out our line and hopefully we can catch one. Had to reduce our speed a little bit. The salmon like to hit at around 2.5 knots, so we're just sort of putzing along here. We'll get to the springs a little bit later than anticipated, but maybe we'll have a delicious pink salmon that we can cook over a fire there, and that would be really lovely. Always a bit nerve-wracking when you can't see in front of you. Even though you have instruments and ways to know where boats are, it's still just a little disorienting and a little sort of like anxiety-provoking when you're in the fog. Thankfully, it didn't last long. Well, we are out of the fog now, which is great because it was pretty hectic back there. There was cruise ships and fishing boats, and yeah, just didn't want to be heading through there without very much visibility. We could see for about a half a mile, but yeah, the fog has lifted. Got a beautiful view of the mountains and the little islets here. Lots of birds. Sunny again, which is awesome. We're about 3 nautical miles away from Goddard Hot Springs, so just nearly there, and just in time to drop the hook, have some dinner, and a nice cold beer, I'd say.
We are just arriving here at Goddard Hot Springs. A little bit, well, I mean, it's not really all that tricky. Compared to West Arm, it is not tricky at all. There is a little bit of a dogleg to get in, a little bit of a reef to go around, rocks, but nothing nearly as close and terrifying as West Arm to go to the other hot spring. So this, comparatively, is fairly straightforward. Just a little dogleg, and then we can go drop the hook, and then we can go explore.
That was a pretty smooth entrance. I was just up on the bow, keeping a lookout for the rocks, just in case. You never know, you can never be too careful. Big open bay in here, it's like about 20 feet, which is lovely. And we are going to drop the hook next to our pals that we met up in Pelican. We're buddy-buddying with them at the last hot springs, and we're gonna do the same thing here today.
Good, Bruno.
There's 2 tubs, I believe, that are sheltered. Should be absolutely lovely. Really, really looking forward to it. The sail to soak adventure is really where it's at. Today we didn't sail, but you know, we will soak. It's a nice natural cleat.
Yeah, it's a good one. Okay, done.
This hot spring is so lovely. Oh my god. Absolute bliss. The view of the bay, unreal. Oh. So cool that there are so many natural hot springs on this coast and that you can sail to them. They're boat access only, so you got to get a boat to get yourself to one of these. When the sun sets, it's going to be absolutely incredible. It's amazing. This is really, really nice, you guys. Well, we are back for another soak this morning because when you come to hot springs, you need to soak more than once to really make the most of it, right?
Wow. Goddard Hot Springs has delivered. We're going to call the bottom pool down here the morning pool because you have a beautiful view out over the bay. And then the top pool up the top I think is going to be referred to here on out as the evening pool because you get the sunset over Mount Edgecombe, which is beautiful. So, I wish we could stay here forever. I got to get out of the state, so we got to make some miles. We can feel a little bit of a breeze coming in this morning from the northwest. I think we're going to paddle back to the boat, make some breakfast, haul the hook, and try to get out there and make some miles south.
Yeah, could stay here for a really long time doing this, but we've got to get going. We got to make some miles, so let's get out of here, I guess.
The wind's coming in from the west, so hopefully we can take it on a beam or slightly upwind of a beam and head south down along Baranof Island. Not quite sure how far we're going to get today. We'll just play that by ear. There is a big blow in the forecast in the next couple of days though, so our game plan is to try to get as far south as we can before that picks up. I don't know if we'll get off Baranof Island and over to Prince of Wales before that happens, but yeah, we got to find somewhere to hunker down for a day because it's going to be a day of gales. But just one day, so it should blow through pretty quick, and then it's down to fairly settled weather again after. And we can continue our journey down Prince of Wales Island. That's the plan. We're going to get the hook out of the ground, get out of here, dodge the couple of rocks on the way out, and head back out into the open ocean. That was set really well. Wow.
Good job. The fog was still sitting heavy out in the Gulf, so we opted to weave our way through the islands and narrow passages of the archipelago.
We are heading for Dorothy Narrows, which is a little bit of a shortcut here to get back onto the outside of Baranof. It's a little tiny little cut that comes through the island here, mostly used by small craft. It is very shallow. It only has about a fathom of water in it at low tide. We're about 4 feet above the low tide at the moment, so we're hoping that there should be about 10 feet under the boat as we transit through. It's a nice short little cut, and hopefully that'll get us out and we can see what's going on with the fog on the other side of the islands, because looking back the other way, there looks to be quite a bit of fog still sitting out there. So we're going to take the little smooth passage on the inside here, and before we get out and discover what's going on the outside.
Securite, Securite, Securite. This is SV Uinta transiting southbound through Dorothy Narrows. Over. It's a pretty narrow passageway, so it's really good to announce to folks that you're coming through so that, you know, the fast boats ripping through here don't run you over. You don't want to be on a collision course with another boat going through a narrow passageway, so always good to call ahead. And that is exactly why you make a call on the radio. We just called on the VHF to let boats know that we were transiting. Didn't hear a reply back. Called twice actually. These guys obviously didn't make a call when they were transiting through and came speeding through the pass. I had to put up my hand and be like, stop! Do your security calls, folks. The archipelago south of Sitka is especially busy today. With thick fog blanketing the outer coast, boats are opting for the inside route. The salmon also seem to be running through here, adding to the traffic. Definitely keeping us on our toes as we pick our way through the tight passages.
Well, we did a little drone reconnaissance. We put the drone up and took a look at the fog bank, and it's pretty freaking large hanging out offshore. So I think we're gonna continue on through the archipelago for the next 10 miles and work our way down the coast, down to towards the southern tip of Baranof, and see how far we can get. We'll reassess the fog situation once we get further down there, but for now, it didn't look like the fog was hanging so much in the archipelago as it's drifting up the inlets and up and over the top, so I think it should be fairly clear and safe for us to continue navigating along shore. So yeah, that's the plan for now. We're just going to keep on making as many miles as we can to get south today under the best conditions that we can possibly find. We're just crossing out a windy passage into the last little bit of the archipelago. We've got one little more cut to go through, but we've just entered the fog bank, and the fog bank is pretty thick. I mean, you still have reasonably good visibility at sea level, but yeah, definitely foggy. Got to keep a real keen eye out, keep on the radio, ask if there's anybody around. We were just chatting with the boat that came by who said we showed up on their radar like a Christmas tree. So that's good. We're putting out a good strong signal on radar, so anybody out there with radar should be able to see us really well. But yeah, it's not actually as bad. It's definitely looking a lot more intimidating when you're just staring into the fog bank from a distance, but once you actually start to get into it, your visibility is a little bit better than you initially think it is. With that said, you still got to keep a really bloody good keen eye out.
One minute we were in fog and the next minute it was completely clear, hoping that this clearing of fog means that there might be a little bit more wind out here. We'll see. We don't want to motor down the entire coast this evening, so if there is wind, we'll continue on, but if it's going to be dead, then we'll just duck into one of the anchorages and try again tomorrow. We're just entering another narrow passage here called First Narrows. Not quite as shallow as the last one. Still up on the bow, still keeping a lookout. It's an interesting navigational morning we're having. Lots happening. Honestly, this is what boating is always like. Don't always get to film every bit of it, but yeah, really keeps you on your toes. Lots of boats, lots of changing weather patterns, lots of rocks, narrow bits. Keeps it interesting for sure.
Just arriving here at Second Narrows. This one has me a little bit nervous because it's charted as being 3 feet. No notes on Navionics about it to say it's a big issue, and the guidebook also doesn't really mention it as being a problem, so I think we should be absolutely fine. We're at high tide, so we've got 8 feet of extra water on top of the charts anyway, so let's go give it a shot. Well, that was totally fine. The lowest depth I've seen on the sounder was like 20 odd feet, which would put the channel more at like 14 feet deep rather than 3, so a little bit of inaccuracy on the chart. Absolutely no problem getting through there.
Taking the sail cover off because we're going to head out offshore. You can see that the fog bank has receded a little bit. See how far down the coast we can make it. Hopefully we won't get too fogged in.
Visibility, not as terrible as we initially thought out here. You probably can't see it very well in the camera, but you can actually kind of see the horizon. We think we have about half a mile of visibility, which isn't terrible.
We are out of the fog and we are sailing! Woo! Hello! Hi! Whee! Oh! Wow! Woo! Wow! Woo! Hi! Oh! Absolutely incredible encounter with that dolphin, jumping out of the water, showing us its belly. So amazing. Live for moments like that out here. Thanks so much for watching, folks. Join us next week. We are working our way down the west coast of Baranof Island.
It is a big blow in the forecast in the next couple of days. Our game plan is to try to get as far south as we can before that picks up. We've got to find somewhere to hunker down for a day because it's going to be a day of gales.
We brace for a fast approaching storm, hunkered down in one of the wildest anchorages we've ever been.
It was really windy yesterday. We were getting 35 knots here in the anchorage overnight.
Before pushing back out into the deep, unpredictable waters of the open ocean. This is absolutely champagne sailing today. Glassy, calm waters towards a unique island that few people get to visit.
It's one of those little islands that's like just out in the middle of nowhere, and there's white sandy beaches and moss-covered forests, limestone caves, crazy stuff in there. So we're really keen to go check it all out.
The most humpback whales we've ever seen in one area.
Wherever you look, you just see spray after spray after spray. And Al got an absolutely incredible shot of an albatross taking flight. Really tough to be both sailing and filming all these amazing things at once. So
we're so grateful to get to share these incredible moments with you. Biggest thank you to our patrons for making this possible. Their contribution really goes a long way to supporting the continued production of these videos. If you're keen to jump on board, head on over to Patreon to become a part of our amazing community over there. You can also send a one-time donation to our PayPal, links in the description below. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you next time.